Hello, my name is Mary Coupland and welcome to The Road Ahead. Through a series of guests, we're going to help you navigate your own road ahead as you age. We will help you and your parents prepare for your journey. Let's face it, nobody wants to find themselves in a crisis mode simply because they didn't have access to information well in advance. I am the publisher of Compass and Clock, and together we are going to help you achieve your best future. Today my guest is Tony Haney of Wingman for Seniors, and they provide concierge services. Tony is a retired Air Force veteran. He had 22 years in the service. After he retired, he was a defense contractor for 10 years, and then he shifted his focus to seniors and started an in-home care agency back in Virginia. Recently, Tony and his wife Cheryl relocated to the beautiful Northwest, and they launched Wingman for Seniors. Tony, welcome to The Road Ahead.
Thank you, Mary, for having me today.
I am so happy to have you here and have you educate our viewers on what are concierge services. So why don't we start off by telling them what concierge services are as they pertain to our aging population?
Sure, happy to do that. So traditionally, the senior care resources that are out there today do not typically address the transition period when an elderly person, a senior, is fully independent and then transitions to requiring hands-on personal care. So there's oftentimes very little help for those seniors and their families to provide those higher skilled kind of services that they can't accomplish anymore, and so they need somebody to do that for them. Oftentimes that gap that exists is not completely being able to be filled by the children because they're just not available. So concierge services comes in and fills in that gap.
Wow, I like that idea. So there's concierge services and then there's in-home care services. Can you tell us the difference between those two?
Sure, absolutely. Oftentimes in-home care is medical care. Concierge services is tailored to provide services that in-home care agencies typically do not provide. It's oftentimes very discreet, finite type of care. It might be household organization. It might be helping with bill paying of their utilities so that nothing gets turned off. It might be managing the checkbook, making sure that their credit card statements say what they should say and no one is taking advantage of them financially. It could be oftentimes it's like handyman duties in a house. You know, these seniors want to stay in their homes, and so concierge services allow them to continue to stay in their homes as long as they can.
And that's necessary. There's not enough housing options out there as far as independent and assisted, etc. And one of the hugest options is aging in place. And if concierge services is that bridge that can help them remain independent longer, that's an amazing, new service that's provided out there. So if somebody, let's use my dad for example, he's 85 years old. If dad is living at home like he is, would somebody like, my dad who's independent have the need to hire somebody from a concierge service and an in-home care agency simultaneously? Can you illustrate an example of that for us?
Sure, that oftentimes could be the case, and it provides a trade-off. You have the in-home care agencies providing a very valuable service, but it's also a limited service. There are just not enough caregivers out there to do that. And they will focus on those classical in-home care activities of daily living.
ADLs.
The
right?
ADLs. Now, the concierge service, though, takes care of a lot of higher skilled requirements. The managing the checkbook. Let's make sure the house works correctly and it's safe. The doors work correctly. The smoke detector batteries are getting changed. All the appliances are working correctly. that there are no hazards or any kind of impediments, or it might be making recommendations to make some structural changes to the house, with the concierge services being the go-between with the contractors, so that we make sure that that senior is getting when they get bids, that there are multiple bids, they get the service from a reliable and trusted contractor, and they get the service that they're paying for at a competitive price, and that they're not being taken advantage of, as so often happens to be the case.
That does happen with seniors. So if somebody needs help getting out of bed in the morning and bathed and toileting, that would be an in-home care agency's service that they provide, where all the other ones that you were just mentioning are the concierge services.
That's correct. We would sort of work hand in glove to provide a quality day and path forward for that senior. The in-home care agencies provide those kind of levels of services, and we would provide things that traditionally a family member would fill. And we all know time is probably one of our most valuable commodities, and many of our younger sons and daughters that would provide that role of taking care of what would be concierge services, they just don't have the time for it. They have their own demands with their family, their work requirements, and so they have very finite periods of time where they can provide, they can come visit their mom and dad. They do not want to spend the time coming in there making sure the microwave is working correctly, that all the light bulbs are on and working correctly, that the gutters are being cleaned as they should be, or any kind of things that need to be done typically on a house, that they're being taken care of by somebody else. So they can focus on their mom or dad. They can spend time, take them to lunch, doing a drive out in the countryside, in the beautiful fall days that we have right now. That is a better use of their time. It makes more sense to have a concierge service provide that discrete level of service at an affordable price.
And when you say at an affordable price, are concierge services covered by insurance?
Typically,
or private pay?
They are not.
Okay.
This is a kind of service that no government program provides. But
at the moment?
At the moment. The chances are that probably will never happen. Mm-hmm. The medical system as it is right now is grossly underfunded. And unfortunately, we all have to recognize that care of an individual in their later days of their lives is going to be more than likely come out of their own financial resources or the resources of a family. Therefore, it makes a lot of sense to have somebody come in and provide concierge level services to delay as long as possible the move from outside of a home to facility care, mm-hmm. which is very, very expensive and is not getting any cheaper, let alone the fact that it is very difficult to man and support those kind of facilities. You can make better use of your money and delay those expensive costs down the road by having somebody come in and become sort of an extension of the son or daughter, a patient advocate, to take mm-hmm. the mom or dad to medical appointments, make sure their needs are taken care of, since you can't necessarily be there as the son or daughter.
So if somebody is aging in place at home, and what we would like to say is thriving in place, and they have an in-home care agency coming for activities of daily living, maybe coming for helping them bathe and toileting, that might be more of a daily visit, where concierge services isn't going to be every single day. Is that correct? Depending on what services that they're asking a concierge company to provide.
That's correct. I sort of describe it as an a la carte menu of services. You would have a service provider come in mm-hmm. and talk to the family, because everybody has unique needs and everybody ages differently. You would find out, this would be a cooperative effort, hopefully, with the family and the seniors involved mm-hmm. to figure out what is not being done that needs to be done. And let's make sure it's being done. And packaging it so it's a discrete level of service. It's not based upon, I got to have a minimum number of hours a week, or I've got to meet a certain amount of dollars before I can provide the service. This is tailored to meet a specific need and make sure that things don't get worse.
So my dad, for instance, lives in North Carolina. And just like any family, you know, not everybody lives right in the same town or close by to check in on mom and dad as often as they would like. So if I'm going to visit my dad in North Carolina for 3 or 4 days, if my dad had hired Concierge Services, I can actually go there and visit with him instead of helping him with the mail and other things.
That's correct.
Is that really how you're,
Yep.
one of the layman's way to explain it?
Yeah, it would be the ability for you to be able to come and visit your mom or dad, in your case, your dad, for a son or daughter to visit their parent and spend time with them, which is more important than anything.
Quality.
For the limited amount of time that you're going to have with them, you shouldn't be focusing on these peripheral activities that a senior concierge service can provide. Make sure those things are taken care of. They can provide emails, updates on what's being done. A child could come in, a son or daughter could come in and validate that all that work is being done to their satisfaction, but they could focus on their mom or dad, their parent, and have that peace of mind that that kind of service is going to continue. So when they go away, they know that their parent is going to be comfortable and safe in their home and be well taken care of.
So if we're about out of time on this episode right now, if you wanted to give any parting words of advice to our viewers, what would you share with them as it pertains to concierge services?
Sure.
And aging in place.
I'd absolutely. I would say that the future of medical care for seniors, and I'm going to be one of those, is pretty bleak. The number of people out there that are going to need care is growing exponentially, and there's not enough caregivers out there to provide the support that we're all going to need. I mean, they're talking numbers to indicate that as many as 8 million caregivers, job opportunities, 8 million people are going to be needed to provide caregiving services within the next 3 years. And so how are you going to manage that? One way to manage that is you decide early on that you're going to have a service that provides concierge level care to your mom or dad so that they don't need a caregiver immediately in their house. So you can push that cost off. And I would highly encourage individuals to strongly discuss the subject with their mom or dad and help them in that transition that we all will have to make from being fully independent to needing some kind of medical care in the future, and arguing that this kind of service would save money and provide a better quality of life, allow individuals to stay in their home as long as they can, because they all want to age in place in an area, in a home that they're familiar with and comfortable with. And I would encourage everybody to seriously consider that.
Thank you, Tony. I think the information that Tony shared with us today is invaluable, and just as we've told you with the road ahead in each episode, it's learning about these things well in advance so that you can plan and prepare for your future. So concierge services is a bridge, as you said, that allows us to age in place as long as possible and remain independent and have a better quality of life. So thank you, Tony, for sharing all of that with us today. And thank you, viewers, for spending another episode with us on the road ahead. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.